Hey Aquarius, thank you for joining me over here. This is a reading for Capricorn season, or rather, from new moon to new moon. But since the new moons are happening at the very end of each sign at the moment, like this one right now that we're still under the influence of is happening or was happening at Sagittarius 29. So, yeah, it's essentially the same. So, let's have a look for you what this lunar cycle brings this Capricorn season. Let's look at the past first, you Aquarius. There we go. Of course it fell to the floor. Just a second. The Emperor and the Sun. Okay, what a start. Let's put these like this. Okay. Interesting. What else can we see for Aquarius for the present moment? The Princess of Pentacles. I almost said Queen, but it's the Princess. It's quite an impressive picture, though, for a princess, I would say. But then it is Pentacles, so it is the most tangible way, like visible, although the princesses are kind of invisible, but it is the most visible invisible court card, if that makes any sense. And then we have the Ace of Wands for a future. Alright, this was a cluster fudge of cards. The Ace of Cups. I'm gonna put this here as well, because it kind of flipped around and it kind of already presented itself here. Double aces in the future. My god. Like, the aces are, like, for most tarot readers, the aces are about, like, new beginnings, new stuff coming in, and I'm not gonna really oppose that, but for me, it is new because it is associated with the stars, and the stars are kind of like our guides, what we're aiming for, like reaching for the stars, like literally, or not literally, but as the general theme in our life. And the Four of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, it's the card that I call Power, and it's Aleister Crowley agrees with me on this one, also calls it Power. It is a Sun card, it is a Jupiter card, like any card of the Minor Arcana that has a 4, is a 4 card, is a Jupiter card as well. And it really, like, the Sun is one of the sources of our consciousness, one of the expressions of our consciousness, rather. And when Jupiter touches it, it makes everything bigger. And I think that's where the power comes from. But the power, I want to say, is nothing without its limitation. Like, because Jupiter is like abundance in its essence. It is femininity in its essence, the most tangible, or a somewhat tangible form of essence. Still, like, there are higher expressions of femininity, but they're less tangible, less reachable by our mind, I want to say. But this abundance, this expansive force of Jupiter needs a limitation as well, and there comes, in a way, the Emperor in, because the Emperor is associated with Aries, and Aries is ruled by Mars. So it's like a bit of an indirect influence, because Aries is different from Mars. I mean, Mars rules over Scorpio and Aries. And Aries and Scorpio are very different signs. But there is, I would say, this Aries card, the Emperor card here in your past, kinda is like a limiting force to me. And you know how, like, I can't really remember why Crowley decided to have Frida Harris paint this emperor with like crossed legs and with his staff pointing over his shoulder there. I think it has something to do with where the Golden Dawn tradition puts the Emperor card onto the Tree of Life. So if we look at the Tree of Life here, like all of these lines in between the circles, the Sephiroth, represent a major arcana card, because they're all path. Like, this is Earth down here, and this is the Moon. So they put the World card, I believe, in here, or maybe it's actually like the Tree of Life that the Golden Dawn uses looks a bit different. So it has two lines here that I don't have here, because I don't think there's a direct line from Earth to Mercury or Venus. I think the Emperor card is somewhere up here, and then he's pointing over his shoulder because it's like a diagonal path or something. But I kind of digressed, because what I wanted to say is that the shape of this Emperor looks like the symbol for Jupiter here. So like this kind of hook here, and then diagonally down across, and then his leg is basically the vertical line here. So it is, but I said it is a limiting force. But then again, if I see Jupiter in there, it's both. It's expansion and limitation in itself. That's kind of interesting. Let's see. Like, that's what I needed to say in advance. Let's see what else can we know about this Emperor and the Sun. What else can we know about the past here? Six of Pentacles. This is another Jupiter card. And Judgment. Okay, interesting. And at the bottom we have the Seven of Pentacles. Some progression going on. Six of Pentacles is also a Moon card, and the Moon is exalted in Taurus, and Taurus is an Earth sign. Pentacles are the Earth suit, so to speak. So we have a connection between the Sun and the Moon here. The Moon is our subconscious. The Sun is not really our conscious, but it's one of the expressions of our conscious. I mean, the subconscious is also an expression of our consciousness, I want to say. The conscious. Not morality in that sense. Yeah. It is kind of still, I don't know. I don't get it yet. Still eluding me. Something is still missing. So let's ask further. Can we have one more card or two for the past here? What is this two-way balancing thing that is going on here? Isn't it a threefold? Is it really two? Like, because balancing means traditionally like scales, two sides, kind of trying to balance each other out. But in the higher realms, the two, as I've recently learned, is not as important as the three or the one. Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, so that's work. The work card, understanding, or not really understanding, but more of like the thought process or language, structuring one's language. And the Wheel of Fortune. Again, Jupiter. Jupiter is back again. Jupiter is also about giving space to something. It is the origin of time and space. Before Jupiter, we don't have time and space, and it is the biggest planet that we have. It is the sixfold. Yeah. It is also the, I want to say, the completion. No, Mars is the completion. Mars is the completion of the first 6 numbers. But Judgment, it's like one step before completion. You're one step away from completion, yes. And it has something to do with like, this is 1, 2, 3 in itself. Then comes another 2, like a tangible 2, not just the potential of 1, 2, 3, but an actual 2, and then an actual 3. And then we copy what we've done up here with Jupiter, Mars, and the Sun. But actually, the Sun comes first. It's kind of like a projection of the stars. Like, the Sun is kind of like a star. At least science tells us that. I'm not so sure about that. But after the Sun existed, Jupiter came into being, and then Mars, and Mars comes after Jupiter because it's the limiter. Like, first, like, you can't limit something that doesn't exist yet. So, and Mars limiting time and space, basically. It's the first no. It's the first no as we can understand it, so to speak. And you're one step away from it. You're more like here, like making the actual thing. But then the realization, actually, I also need to be able to stop myself. I need to be able to say no, like boundaries. Could be as simple as that, like learning the lesson of having boundaries. Because at the end of the day, we need to have enough for ourselves. Like, as good as it feels to share one's resources. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant if you can help other people. Like, this feeling and what you get from it, like the multiplication, what's that called? Like the win-win-win situation, I want to call it, can be also almost addictive, I want to say. Interesting. Yeah, 7 of Pentacles is also a card of waiting. But I like to see, I like to look at it in a way that makes us, something that makes us humble. Like, we may need to wait until something has the level of maturity or whatever that we intended or that we need. But it is really, I think, a lesson in humility. Like, we might have intended to do something else, but we needed to change. Like it can be a change of goalposts. Like, you intended something and you started working on it, but then while you were working on it, you discovered, oh snap, this is not gonna work out the way I intended to, or you noticed that you're actually creating something else than you intended to. I mean, if we're talking about consciousness, we always need to also talk about subconsciousness, the moon, what we can see, because our subconscious is our biggest filter in the now. Like, all of our thoughts and all of our emotions are filtered through the moon, like the symbol for our, or the representation of our subconscious, the dream world, in a way, because like I kind of color coded it here with like this pink, violet, and bluish color. I think we're living in a dream within a dream within a dream. Like all of these 3 different colors represent a dream. Some people call it maybe a simulation. I don't really like that term because it's too technical. For me, it's, yeah, but I mean, because dream is sounds maybe a bit too out there or too much emotional based or whatever, but to some people at least. But it is a physical reality we go through every day, so I kind of disagree on that. And I think physical sleep with, I don't know if you can call it physical sleep, physical dreaming, but let's say the physical sensation of dreaming is, I think, stepping out of the first dream into the world of the world of the subconscious. Now, I don't know if we're like in the actual sleep state, if we're able to go here to towards the sun. I don't know really how that works, and how to reach the stars. I don't know, but we're all working on it, aren't we? So let's have a look at your present moment. I'm just gonna shuffle again because I feel like it. With the Princess of Pentacles here, which is, like I said before, she's like the most visible of the invisible pages. Like, pages are in general invisible. They don't have a direct association with any of the signs. I mean, there are 16 court cards, 4 times 4. But we only have 12 signs. And the pages are the most, like, the highest vibing of the court cards, because they're the most innocent and the most immature as well. And that's why they're invisible. It's kind of like kids. Kids are not as visible as adults are. And men are also more visible in general than women because they're more mature. They have stronger bodies, for example. So we have the 3 of Wands, the Hierophant, and the 4 of Pentacles. The 3 of Wands is a card that I call royalty. It's kind of like opposed to the 5 of Wands, because that one I call persona. The royalty card is more like our true self, our royal self, our higher self. It's not the highest self, because the highest self is not singular. It's a state of being where we're connected with everything, and where we can't really be attached to our ego, like our self-identity, very much any longer. But then again, we don't have to give it up entirely, because I don't think the purpose is to give up our self-identification or our ego entirely, but we need to be able to disconnect from it. And I think actually when we're able to be both disconnected and connected to our ego, we can reach really high, like living paradoxes. I think paradoxes have I don't know, they're like a central, they need to play a central role in our being, because otherwise we cannot, because our thinking is so limited. Like, Mercury is a very sharp tool in our shed, but it's also very limited. It's like an expert tool that needs to have the right shape for like a specific kind of shape for a specific kind of task, and there's only that many shapes this Mercury tool can take, and so we need to kind of transcend this tool in a way, like make it like accept paradoxes, so to speak, in order to apply it and in order to use it for the higher realms. I have a hard time explaining what I mean. Maybe you're getting something out of this, hopefully. But yeah, so the Hierophant is a card of tradition. The traditional kind of way of doing things, but also of fellowship. Like you see how these two people are kind of kneeling in front of this bigger figure in the background, kind of like potentially idolizing the person. But that's not really, like, that's a negative side of the Hierophant, like what we see a lot in religion, actually. But it's generally having a guide, I would say. Having a guide that you can look up to, that helps you. And there's a lot of threefold symbols, at least two, well, three in a way. On this card, we have 3 mountains here, and then we have 3 levels on this, what is it called, a scepter? Well, I don't, staff, whatever. Like, this person is not really reigning. Oh, yeah, and then there are 3 levels. Or is it 4? Isn't it really 4? Because there are also 4, the 4, what is it, fixed signs in the corners, which you are one of. Obviously, you're Aquarius here. The Waterman, Water Woman. I think they're all women in this deck. Yeah, there's a 3 and 4 kind of dynamic in this card. The 3 of Wands to the 4 of Pentacles. Yeah, I guess when you find one of your higher selves, let's say, like one of the higher levels of yourself, let's call it that, you kind of automatically you get more responsibility in your life, and automatically you also get more power, because it's stupid to cite these movies, but what is it again in Superman? With great power comes great responsibility. Honestly, it's weird propaganda, it feels like, but then again, there's always a kernel of truth in it, and we have to aim for that. We have to believe that it's possible to find truth every once in a while in a pile of lies. Yeah, and I just realized that these are the same cards, both the 4 of Pentacles. Very different way of, like, very different pictures, very different energies these cards carry. I'm always, like, this card is almost jarring with a red tree. Like, is it on fire? Is it bleeding? Is it a warning? What is it? I mean, traditionally, the 4 of Pentacles is also called the Miser card. Like, I'm not going to share it. It's just all mine, because, like, there's, maybe if you don't know the card, I'm just going to show you with the most known deck in tarot, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It depicts a guy who's holding on to his 4 pentacles, and he looks like he really does not want to share at all, hence the Miser as a nickname for this card. And of course I can't really find it because it's like at the very end. Seriously, there. And he's wearing a crown, by the way, which reminds me of what I said about, like, your royal self. And again, what I said here, like the 3-4 connection. There's another 3-4 connection because his crown has 3, like, what do you call this? Teeth. But it's obviously the 4 of Pentacles. And 3 times 4 is 12. And 12 is obviously the number of zodiac signs that we have. It's a very important number in general. So, oh, I'm sorry. I just noticed that you can't see it completely. Let me move it. Alright. Oopsie daisy. Yeah, my space here is a bit limited. There we go. Oh yeah, and glare. Glare. Less glare. There. Okay. Let's move this actually around. Let's move you here. Yeah, this kind of works. And let's move on to the future, the stars. Let's reach for the stars. Let's use our 12 zodiac signs to reach for the stars, like a stepping stone. I don't know, like a stairway to heaven. Where's that coming from? That's so weird. Okay, let me take it. Can we know more about how to reach the stars? What is important for reaching the stars for Aquarius in Capricorn season? Thank you. The Empress. Venus. So, Venus is another power source. Or not just another power source, but the power source. Wheel of Fortune. Fascinating. Jupiter. Very feminine energies. Can we have one more card, please? Thank you. Yeah, okay. Another major arcana. Okay. Clarified by the Four of Wands. Okay, at least a minor arcana here. Because I kind of see... yeah, well... my favorite tarot reader, and probably other tarot readers as well, they interpret the major arcana as outside forces and the minor arcana as like what you can do, like inside forces, so to speak, like your own forces that you have control over. But then again, if I really think it through, that the most important job that we have is an inside job, it means to me that the major arcana cannot, well, they can resemble or represent outside forces, but it means that outside forces are inside forces and inside forces are outside forces. I mean, there's not really a difference between the two. So, but something major is definitely happening in Capricorn season. Like 2 aces clarified by 3 major arcana. Okay. I think you're gonna notice this time. Let's just say that. Maybe we can... yeah, we're gonna talk about the cards first, and then I will see if I need more information or not. Because it feels like I would not appreciate the cards right now if I would just jump ahead and pull more cards right away. So let's have a look at the Tree of Life again. Yeah, that works. So the Empress card is representing Venus, and the Wheel of Fortune is representing Jupiter. We are on the feminine side of the Tree of Life here, like this, well, this entire column really, but I think it crosses over here at the abyss. This is the abyss is the dashed line here, but this is more like the tangible things, like these 3 up here, these Sephiroth up here are very hard to reach, very abstract kind of ways to look at life, and yeah, so let's stay down here. So these are like the 2 main feminine principles that we have, which is abundance in itself. That's Jupiter, like just Jupiter wants to expand. There's just so much of it. It's the origin of time and space as well, like any like matter, well, it's more like pre-matter, but it's making space for matter, let's say. And Venus is emotions, and emotions are like the power source for our thoughts. So when we speak what we feel, then we have true like power in our words. That's how I understand it. And Temperance is actually Sagittarius, which and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Pisces is obviously as well, but Sagittarius is the one that you could call the happy-go-lucky kind of sign of the zodiac. But Temperance is the card that also says balance. That says, well, it's one of the cards that can say balance. And it's also the card of healing and alchemy. And I'm a bit concerned here with Capricorn season for you, because it looks a bit unbalanced, because there's a lot of influence from the stars, like a lot of guidance, to the point that it can be overwhelming. And there is such great feminine force that I'm a bit concerned that it could have overwhelmed you or your environment or your projects or whatnot. However, it applies to you, because as good as it is to be abundant and everything, there is the need for limitation. And we talked about that already, like with the limitation, and with one step away. You're one step away. I'm not sure. I don't think the last step is gonna happen in Capricorn season, because I said you're here, you're at Jupiter, and the lesson that still needs to happen is here, is the limiter, it's Mars. And it doesn't look like the lesson of Mars is gonna happen in Capricorn, which is perhaps not the worst news, because it is a hard lesson. I mean, receiving a no is, well, not pleasant, usually at least. How? The Four of Wands is here at the bottom. Four of Wands is also a card of disciples and fellowship. What we talked about here with the Hierophant, it's the one of the ways you can, like, it's like a small Hierophant, you can call it. Like, there's also a small Justice card, for example. I'm wondering if you're following, like, if you're guided to follow someone, and that person is perhaps not as balanced as you would need your guide to be, and this is being shown to you in Capricorn season, because the stars are our guides. So maybe I have also two guides. Maybe it's two guides. Maybe it's two different guides. Okay. Let's see if it's two guides or not. Maybe you're gonna switch guides. I don't know. Just a thought. What can we see about guides in the future for Aquarius, for Capricorn season here? What is it about these guides, or this one guide, and two aspects about them? Thank you. The Lovers. A decision. Yeah. A decision. I guess it is two guides, because the Lovers is also the card of gemination, of twinning, twin aspects. Could be still one person, and you just have to decide to follow one aspect of them and not the other, or something, or could play out in a lot of different ways, I would say. And perhaps both aspects are feminine aspects, actually. Yeah. And there might it might look like they're opposing each other, but they're not. They're complementing each other, but they're still incomplete because they're just feminine forces. What else can we see here? Is there something else that we need to see here? Is there something else that we need to see here? Yeah, okay. 5 of Swords. That is the card of Mars. That is the Mars influence that I was talking about. But it is also Venus card. It is Venus in Aquarius. It's one of your cards. It's the first decan in your sign. If you have placements there, then they're emphasized for you here. It is also, I want to say, since it's the first decan of Aquarius, and Aquarius is following Capricorn, obviously, it's also the end of January. So it's right after. Could be the future. Could be like here, like future. So maybe the lesson with Mars is coming right after you have figured, you've made your decision. Or actually, well, if you make the decision to follow something and not to follow something else, you yourself are the Mars force, the one that says no to something. So perhaps where I said earlier, it is hard to receive a no, the Mars lesson is hard, but worth it, maybe you yourself are dishing out that lesson. Or you're dishing it out on yourself. In a way. I mean, yeah. I think if we're dishing out something, we're dishing it out to ourselves anyway, as well. So, Ace of Pentacles, another ace is at the bottom. Sorry, you can see it right here. Which is the most tangible form of an ace. A new beginning in the physical is maybe coming for you because of that experience, which is nice. Not that everything new and everything different is better, but it's always good to develop, I would say. So yeah, that's what I have for you, Aquarius. I hope this helped and helps. And hope to see you soon again. Bye bye.